Good morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner with a daily technical update. This version is brought to you from my home office. It is the 28th of May and today we'll start with a Danish company. US was closed yesterday and UK also, I believe, so it was a fairly quiet day. We'll start with the Vestas Wind, the biggest wind turbine builder that is pushing higher today. 203, so if we can hold on to that, then it's confirming this uptrend. We are here on daily chart. Positive RSI also confirmed. On the weekly chart, we can see currently it is pushing above the 200 moving average and testing the 60 threshold on the RSI. However, we are already in a positive sentiment, indicating we are likely to see Vestas pushing higher towards the resistance here around 217.5, around that level. If it does close above 219.15, well, then it's cancelled this bearish engulfing top and reversal pattern, which I believe it will do. And then if it does that, well, then there's potential to 250, 275 on the medium to longer term view. It has to be said though, I'm a shareholder, it's just a disclaimer, and it's not a recommendation to buy. I just have to mention this. But it looks fairly strong at the moment, but if it breaks back or slides back to below 186, well, then we are back in this deadlock area here between 175 and 100, just below 200, and then the bullish picture could be demolished somewhat. If it breaks back below and close below 174, well, it's totally demolished. Very quickly look at S&P 500. Despite it was closed yesterday, we are indicating a little bit higher today, well, or more or less unchanged to 0.15%. This top reversal pattern is still in place. It needs to be taken out. A close above 53.42 is needed to cancel that for S&P 500 to move higher. Similarly on Nasdaq, 18,908, a close above that, then Nasdaq has cancelled this top and reversal pattern here. Otherwise, we are possibly in for a correction down to 18,168, possibly lower, but around that level should be seen. We have EUROSTOXX 50 that has bounced a little bit, still struggling below 5,100 and I believe that struggle to continue. DAX, which was open yesterday, as we can see here, pushing a little bit higher towards the 18,891 previous peak here, if it takes out that, and we are in a bullish trend despite having some divergence here, as you can see. But if we break above this falling trend line, and we are still in a positive sentiment, well, then we could see a push towards 19,000 and possibly higher. AEX, well, we have struggling a little bit to push higher, but this bullish candle here Friday was actually a strong testament to the Amsterdam market that it could push higher towards 922, even maybe 25 and 30 if it takes out on the downside that candle there from Friday, meaning if it takes out 905, well, then a correction is likely to unfold. CAC 40 bounced from its 61.8 retracement at 8,042, struggling a little bit for upside momentum, but I think it will slowly start crawling, or continue to crawl higher towards 8,200. Whether it will take out the strong resistance at 82.54 is really debatable. I don't think so. We have the Swiss markets bouncing fairly strongly. It's in an uptrend, no divergence. I think we could see a push back above 12,000 and also a little bit higher towards 12,100, 200 maybe. If we can get a guesstimate here, we can take a little Fibonacci there and say, okay, well, possibly up to around 12,150, 160 level. Moving on to your dollar that has bounced off this 100 moving average a couple of days ago, very close to be testing this 108.85 resistance level here. I think it will break it, and I think it will break higher. towards 109.30, but there's no stronger resistance until around 109.80, possibly spiking up to 110. So it looks fairly strong at the moment, but if it takes out 108, well then the uptrend has been cancelled. I just want to also again mention Euro Sterling, very strong resistance here, support at 85. As you can see, it's been tested many times historically. So really strong support that you should keep an eye on. We are in negative sentiment, but whether it will break below, well, it dipped a little bit below, but it really needs to have a stronger break than this, and preferably a close below. Then we could see a lower levels, and I would say 84.95. As you can see, it's dipping down just below 85 every single time, but it could also very well bounce back to 85.5, maybe a little bit higher. Cable or sterling dollar, very close to 128. I think it will test it fairly shortly. If it takes it out, well, then there's a potential up to 128 and a half, 129 resistance area up here. Dollar yen, struggling to really get above this 61.8 retracement at 157.05. I think we could see a little bit of a setback. However, there's no divergence on the RSI, still bullish, so a push towards the 158.45, 46, 50 level is in the cards. And we are still in an uptrend, so I think it will materialize, but it is really struggling at the moment. So be careful. We could see a little bit of a setback. Euro yen pushing higher, closed at a new high here. The yesterday pushing higher again. It's not an all-time high, but it's pushing towards 171.68 previous peak here. Whether we'll get there, I'm not quite sure. Now there is a bit divergence on the RSI. These peaks here currently are a bit lower than this, and please be aware we're looking at closing prices. So, but we should see a move up towards that. But it is very stretched at the moment. So don't be surprised if we suddenly see a correction. But I don't have a top and reversal pattern in place just yet. Aussie yen pushing higher, and I think it will take out this little peak here at 104.57 and test 105 fairly shortly. It's breaking above its falling trend line on the RSI. There's still the divergence, so we are stretched, but I think it will push higher, also above 105. If it takes out the lows here from a couple of days ago, 103.45, then I will say, okay, that's it. We will have a larger correction. Sterling yen still in this rising channel here, testing very close to be testing its peak here from April, struggling a little bit with the RSI. If RSI closes above 75, well then there's certainly, not certainly, but there's likely more upside potential in the cards. Otherwise, expect a correction. Moving on to Aussie dollar. Has been a little bit frustrating lately, but still we are in an uptrend. You see higher highs, higher lows, and higher lows. We are in an uptrend, and I will remove this one because now it's just getting a little bit annoying. I think we will see 67.14 be taking out here fairly shortly. It is struggling a little bit, but as you can see, the moving averages are slowly turning around, and the RSI also showing a positive sentiment. Dollar Canada failed to break higher and is now setting back. 135.90. If it takes out that, then I think we'll see a setback towards 135.50, 135, maybe even in this range down here. If it can get back above the cloud, close above the cloud, well, then I think we will see a bullish move towards previous peaks around 138.50. EURUSD, not much to talk about. It is pausing a little bit just below 99.5, still room up to par. Dollar Swiss setting back a little bit, and I think that will continue the next couple of days. I think we'll slowly continue, not necessarily back to testing 90 level, but that is a key level that one should observe. And finally, dollar index getting weak again after this bearish engulfing we had here. That's a clear sign of sellers in control, and we could see a push down to 103.68 in coming days and weeks. Moving on to commodities and gold, that bounced off the 26.5 minus resistance right here, just above the cloud and just above the 786 retracement and 23.14. I actually expected it to dip down to that level before bouncing, but now it seems we are bouncing a little bit. If it takes out 23.26, well, then expect a sell-off down maybe even to 22.80, 22.77, where we have some fairly strong support. Otherwise, we could see a push towards the 23.84. If it takes out 23.85, well, then I think we'll see a retest of previous all-time highs. Silver, still the strongest one, very strong bounce off the 30 level yesterday, pausing a little bit, and I added this Fibonacci to give an idea. Excuse me. We are trading, we reached just below the 786 retracement, but we are in a strong uptrend. There's no divergence. We should see silver, or could see silver pushing towards the 32.5 and 34.40. Strong resistance. Platinum, also strong bounce from 1015, very close to 61.8 retracement and 1066. But as you can see, there's no divergence on the RSI, indicating we're likely to break higher, also above the 1100. There's no strong resistance until around 1130. If it takes out 1015, well, then that picture has been demolished, and downtrend is to resume. Copper, very strong bounce also, but faded a little bit towards the end. Yeah, at the moment here. But 474.5 key support. If it takes out that, well, then we could be looking at 462, 460. Other than that, I think we will bounce higher towards 500. Very strong resistance at 510. On the oil market, we can see Brent crude oil actually bounced from the 76.60, this strong resistance area, support area down here, just around 76. I think we'll see a bounce up to around $80, and then I think we will see the 200 moving average giving some resistance as it has done previously. So we could be caught range bound between those two levels. Brent crude also bouncing from its support at 80. Spot 72, could push up to around 84, 75, around that level where we have some strong resistance. We can also see the 200 moving average giving some resistance just around at the 83 level, 84.30 level. And finally, moving on to the US Treasury yields, well, they're basically just stuck range bound between 430 and 453. Those are the levels to break. All right, that's all for today. Have a nice day and happy trading. Talk to you again tomorrow.